Series finales can be tough to pull off for even the best TV shows. They have to wrap all the show's plot lines and character arcs in a way that is satisfactory and sensical. Sometimes that means a show will close on a question mark to allow fans their own interpretations, or perhaps even room for a spin-off. And while that might work with some programs, an open-ended finale can often seem so unfinished that fans are left clamoring for answers years after the fact. To help resolve some of the most frustrating show endings, here's a look at what showrunners really meant for fans to take away from these confusing conclusions. Lost. For a show that was already redefining weird, Lost's last episode really went off the rails. The 5th season ended with Jack and the crew setting off a hydrogen bomb on the island while visiting the 1970s, so the 6th and final season picked up with 2 separate timelines. One where the survivors are still stuck on the island in the present, and another where the plane seemingly never crashed. This alternate timeline soon revealed itself to be much different than the original, and many of the characters were living completely different lives. The final episode revealed that this timeline was actually the afterlife. Carlton Cuse and Damon Lindelof later explained that the afterlife plotline was supposed to demonstrate how the events on the island weren't purgatory, as many suspected. Unfortunately, the message was so, lost in the chaos of the sideways world exploration that even they couldn't really explain all the finite details. The Sopranos. The fade to black finish for The Sopranos was so unexpected that many viewers thought their cable feed had been interrupted when it happened. Fans of the show had spent months and months speculating about what incredible drama would befall Tony Soprano and his family to close out such an eventful show. But none of that happened. Instead, Tony, his wife Carmela, and their kids met up for dinner after an excruciatingly drawn-out parallel parking job by Meadow. With Journey's Don't Stop Believing blaring out over all the inaction, Tony noticed a suspicious man lurking around the diner and... According to series creator David Chase, the ending implied that Tony was always going to be paranoid as a result of his mafioso history, and that endings for guys like Tony tend to happen just that quickly and unexpectedly. Thanks to some frame-by-frame analysis after the fact, it's pretty clear that the guy Tony was eyeing, who went to the bathroom nearby his table, probably ended his life right then and there. But the fact that Chase chose not to actually show his death was irritating, considering the show wasn't shy about showcasing some serious brutality before. Parks and Recreation. The final season of Parks and Recreation jumped forward in time a few years to 2017, in which Leslie Knope has become a regional director of the National Park Service. But if all that time tripping wasn't enough, the series finale skipped even further ahead to detail the next few years in the lives of all the main characters, particularly Leslie and her husband, fellow Pawnee government worker Ben Wyatt. Both were approached to run for governor of Indiana, with Leslie said to have served 2 terms in the post, while Ben went on to serve in Congress.
Joe Biden knows his way around a seafood risotto.
Then, much farther along in the future, they attend the funeral of Jerry Gergich with a Secret Service detail in tow. That means either Leslie or Ben is President of the United States. But who is it? Show creator Mike Schur, inspired by the ambiguity of the finale of The Sopranos, said he felt there was room for one big question mark. Schur told Variety that he wanted people to be able to fill in their own blanks and make up their own minds. Considering the fact that Leslie Knope always had Oval Office ambitions, it was probably her. But the fact that we didn't get to find out for sure meant fans had to order extra waffles to cope. 30 Rock. NBC's 30 Rock seemed to have a relatively straightforward finale, going full meta by having their faux show TGS wrap up in conjunction with the real show's end. But there was one element of the big finish that was extremely odd. In the very last scene of the show, which takes place several generations in the future, Liz Lemon's granddaughter is all grown up and is pitching a show about her grandmother to the new head of the network, who just so happens to be an apparently immortal Kenneth. Throughout the show, Kenneth was an NBC page who is painted as something of a simpleton, but in retrospect, the show might have been building to the reveal that Kenneth was a timeless creature all along. After all, how many references did Kenneth make to old actors and songs that were so obscure even those in the entertainment business around him couldn't keep up?
I was pretty addicted to Coke back in my Wall Street days.
Mad Men. After nearly a decade of failed marriages, salacious affairs, a bunch of booze, and a deep dive into his abandoned identity, Donald Draper escaped his life as a snazzy Madison Avenue executive and sought solace in a hippie commune. His journey to rock bottom was the very fabric of Mad Men's 7 seasons, so when he showed up at a California hideaway, desperately weeping over his mistakes and emotional disconnections, it seemed like Don might finally change his ways. But that final shot of him peacefully meditating in Mass was not the end-all be-all for the creative genius's days in the sun. The series ended with a credits cutaway to the famous 1971 Coca-Cola commercial of a cross-cultural singing group chanting about wanting to buy the world a Coke, and indicated that Don's takeaway from so much self-discovery was really just another awesome ad idea. Mad Men creator Matthew Weiner later agreed that Don indeed remained an ad man to the end, as the commercial suggested, saying, "Why not end this show with the greatest commercial ever made? I am not into ambiguity for ambiguity's sake, but it was nice to have your cake and eat it too, in terms of what is advertising, who is Don, and what is that thing?" As a result, viewers were left thirsty for more, so the choice of a soda ad was certainly inspired. Thanks for watching. Click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.